Hello, everyone. My name is Cheng-Wei Hsieh. I'm the violinist in Aura Contemporary Ensemble at the University of UH. It's my pleasure to be able to speak with Dr. Melissa Dunphy, the composer of the theme and variable Scallops and Bollocks for tea, who is based in Philadelphia in the States. Um, so, um, Dr. Murphy, I'm really enjoying performing, this piece, and I'm interested in knowing, maybe you can kind of introduce yourself a little bit and share with us how you started with this piece and then what kind of things inspire you to do this piece. Thank you.
Okay, absolutely. I would be delighted to talk to you about this. So I live in Philadelphia, but you can probably tell from my accent, I did not grow up in Philadelphia. This is not anything close to a Philadelphia accent. I grew up in Australia,
Oh,
and I didn't become a composer until I was 24 was when I decided to become a composer. But I grew up playing violin, and then when I was 14, I switched to viola. Viola is kind of the instrument I love the most, I think. Um, and uh, and then when I was in my late teens, I tried to experiment with a lot of different styles of music. So I played in a punk band and a rock band and South American folk music and jazz and electronic music. And basically, I wanted to get outside of classical music for a little while. This is like relevant to I think my inspiration for this piece as well. Um, so when I started composing, I moved to America. I married an American. Um, we just celebrated our 17th wedding anniversary, so we've been married a long time now. I've been in this country a long time. Um, and one of the things that I discovered when I moved to America was I was very interested in politics, because the politics in America is so different to the politics in Australia. Um, and my mother was a refugee from China. She came out of the Cultural Revolution in 1972, and she taught me, a lot about sort of, why she left and what Western politics was like. But I don't think that I really understood
yeah.
how important politics were till I came to America.
Mhm.
So all of my music, I think, almost all of it, maybe one or two pieces that aren't so much, but most of it is inspired by some kind of political message
Right,
or history or something
right.
like that. I love to explore
Hmm.
that side of things.
Hmm.
Um, Most of my music is vocal music too. I write a lot of
Yeah, I
um,
noticed that. Right.
choir, and yeah, and I'm working on my first opera for Oberlin
Oh,
Conservatory. Yeah, it's
well,
like a big project. It's
right.
coming up. Yeah, I'm like really excited. But then but I also like I actually I think almost I'm a little bit intimidated to write for strings because I'm a string player
Right,
growing up,
right,
and you want it to be so special,
right.
because it's the instrument you played the longest, that you love, that you're the best at, and so you want it to be as like good. So so this piece,
Hmm.
Scallops and Bollocks, initially it came about because I got a commission from a group here in Philadelphia, Network for New Music,
Uh-huh.
and they said they wanted a piece like it could no longer than 3 minutes,
Hmm.
um, to celebrate the anniversary of a supercomputer at the University of Pennsylvania. In the 1950s,
Right,
computers would like take up, the entire room of a building,
right.
and they were sort of looking for pieces that had some element of history, thinking about computers
Ah.
like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I plugged this all into my brain, and I was like thinking about all of these issues, about the politics, and I suddenly had this idea, right? So in Australia,
Uh-huh.
Australia actually had one of the first supercomputers as well, right?
Okay.
In the 1950s, this
Right.
computer was built by the government, big as a room.
Mhm.
It's like 1 or 2 years later than the one at the University of Pennsylvania, but
Right.
still a really big supercomputer.
Right.
And actually, it
Mhm.
was the very first computer to ever play music. One of the computer programmers
Mhm.
was a musician,
Mhm.
and in his time off, like not while he was working, but in his lunch break or
Right.
when he went home at night, he
Right.
wanted to find a way to
Uh-huh.
make this computer that had some noises that were programmed inside it. He wanted to figure out a way to make it play music.
Mhm.
So and the way you program this computer is all on these punch cards,
Right.
like these pieces of paper with holes.
Right. Right.
So
Mhm.
it's very difficult. It's not like it's so easy now to
Right.
make music on the computer, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So he had to like design the punch cards and then punch the holes and then feed it into the computer and get the timing just right. And one of the very first pieces of music that he made this computer play is this song called the Colonel Bogey March. It's sort of a very popular turn of the century sort of marching band
Right.
kind of piece.
Right.
And I remembered this fact. I knew this fact because I grew up in Australia. I had heard about this history. And I remembered that when I was a little girl, we used to sing that song,
Mhm.
but the lyrics that we sang it to were anti-Hitler lyrics.
I see.
So, because back in World War II, someone invented a version of this song
Right.
that was making fun of Hitler, right?
Mhm.
So, and they're very profane. They're like kind of rude. That's why when we're school children, we're like
Mhm.
laughing and
Right.
singing
Yeah.
this song.
Uh-huh.
And basically, yeah, it's. Do you want me to sing part of it?
Well, if you want to, yeah, please.
so, so, so the version that I sang,
Right.
I'll sing it. It's like dirty, but okay. It goes, Hitler has only got one ball, Goering had two but very small. Himmler was very similar, but poor old Goebbels had no balls at all. So it's like making fun of all the people inside Hitler's
Okay.
cabinet and like, making fun of them at the way their names sound.
Right.
And there's a line, the very last line
Right.
of this song
Uh-huh.
is, and they had scallops and bollocks for tea. So
Yes.
this is very long-winded.
Right.
But
Yeah.
so
Interesting.
then, yeah, I took that tune, I took that melody,
Right.
and I took some of the lyrics that I
Mhm.
learned when I was a kid,
Right.
and then I played with making a duet between the violin and a computer, right? And some of it is like the original computer sounds from the supercomputer in Australia.
Right.
I found a researcher who had been researching these because they were never recorded at the time, but
Mhm.
this researcher in Australia did some very detailed research to find out exactly what the computer sounded like and made an MP3, and he allowed me to use the MP3 as part of the accompaniment.
Right.
And then I created theme and variations
Right.
on the song, and now
Yeah.
it's a duet.
Yeah, that was really good. So the sound was the song was really popular, in Australia back in the day.
It's like a song. It actually originally, apparently the lyrics were made up. The anti-Hitler lyrics were made up by the British government during World War II
Okay.
to make the population of Britain make fun of Hitler and feel happy to make fun of Hitler. But it was so popular that I was a child in the 1980s in Australia, and we all knew this version of the song. And I
Yeah.
think, a lot of kids in Australia and in the UK will
Uh-huh.
know like the Hitler version of the song. So
Oh,
yeah, I'm always like, you know, I hate fascism and bigotry and racism,
mhm.
and so it's kind of a fun way of combining my
Right.
politics with the
Exactly.
history.
Yeah. When I first heard of this piece, I was like, oh, this is very video game like, sound.
Yes.
And I really, it's really, really, attract me on this piece. And then once you told the story, I think that's really I don't know, chill way to connecting between the politics and with the, this kind of interesting sound, fun sound.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I love video game music too. Like
yeah.
I don't get the chance to do that very much because I write vocal music and,
Uh,
you know, serious orchestra music.
right. Right.
But, I grew up listening to Nintendo, listening to,
Yeah.
the sounds of video game music, a lot of PC games.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting when I came to play with this tune, play with the melody,
Right.
and make, variations on it. I would do something and it sounds like computer game music. So what I ended up doing was I used the actual like virtual instrument that sounds like a Nintendo. So because when you think of computer music now, it's like, what is the most common computer music that everyone is listening to? It's like a video game music.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there was a lot of fun to make those sounds. I try to make it as sort of funny
Yeah.
and fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It is. So,
Good.
from the performance standpoint, I really, really enjoy this and it's really fun. So I also noticed that you use several, different techniques, on the violin, throughout those variations. Maybe not the theme, but the variations. If you have the chance to do it longer, more than 3 minutes, would
Yeah.
you put more variations and maybe more different techniques, more pizzicato or colonial, that kind of stuff. Into the
Yes.
piece? Yeah,
Yeah, I totally think I would have done that. Like I think it's very compact and it works on its own like it
right.
is now.
Yeah,
But I'm also like, whenever you write theme and variations,
mhm.
it becomes like a fun game to see how far you can push the
Right,
theme
right.
and still keep it the theme. It's like, how far can you push? There's a very famous piano variations piece called "The People United Will Never Be Defeated." um,
Okay.
it's by Frederick Jeffsky,
Hmm.
and it is also political. The song that it is based on
Right,
is a political song from South America,
right.
and it's 1 hour long. I forget how many variations there are, but there are like dozens and
Right.
dozens of variations.
Yeah.
And some of the variations, it's like you have to look at it through a microscope to even see where is the theme. I
I see.
where I
Right,
can't find it. Where is the
right,
theme?
right,
But that's part of the fun,
right,
is like trying to find the theme
right,
inside these variations. So I think if I had longer, I probably would push that even
right.
more. How many more different styles of music
Okay.
can I write?
Right.
Can I write something that sounds like, I don't know, like Tchaikovsky? Can I write something that sounds like Webern? Can I
Hmm.
write something that sounds like jazz? Can I do all these other things?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that would be super fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking forward to see, more violin pieces come out with variation. And maybe I can play it in the few
I
near.
would love to write more. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
if I write any more, I will send them to you.
Yeah, that would be great. I would be happy
You
to
got it.
perform it. So I think my last question is, this year, like 2020 has been really, really crazy for everyone.
Yeah.
And especially being the musicians. And it just, so many gigs got canceled, so many performance opportunities got canceled. I just wonder how does this your kind of like affect you as a composer, as a musician?
I mean, it's tough,
Right.
especially, for me, with most of my music being choral music or vocal music,
Hmm.
that's like the most dangerous activity you can do right now. Like there's
Yeah.
choirs where, the entire choir got sick, or
Mhm.
75% of the choir got sick and people died. Um, so the initial everyone in the industry is just freaking out right
Right.
now.
Yeah.
And I'm no exception. I'm so worried about my friends and my colleagues. I'm worried about the future. This year it hasn't hit me, I will say, the financial aspect hasn't hit me as bad because a lot of my commissions are done like 1 or 2 years in advance.
Right.
I'm worried about next year. I'm worried about the year after.
Right.
How long is this pandemic going to keep impacting
Right.
America?
Right.
Um, and I will say the other thing that makes it hard is, even though financially, I'm not as bad off as some because I still have things to work on.
Mm-hmm.
It's so I'm so exhausted watching the news and worrying about everyone and worrying about me and worrying about the country,
Right.
that sometimes, even today, I have to finish a piece of music today for a commission, and I sit in front of my computer and I just, to find the inspiration
Right.
is hard.
Right.
It's like, to find the joy in
Right.
music
Right.
is hard. It
Right.
makes you think, like, why am I doing this? What is the point?
Mhm.
um but you know the so so two things that I think of. One is that people need art even at the worst times of their life. Everybody turns to music and drama on movies and things like that when
Right.
they want that kind of comfort, and
Uh-huh.
the world needs comfort right now.
Right.
So as an artist, I feel an obligation to go on
Yeah.
and keep doing it. And that this is going to sound really morbid, but it's sort of related to that.
Mhm.
But I think I thought a lot earlier in the pandemic, especially. I was thinking about the Titanic,
Right.
the ship,
Right.
um, and as it was sinking, there was a string quartet on the ship.
Yes, I remember that scene. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that kept playing,
Right.
and they drowned.
Right.
They kept playing,
Yeah.
and the survivors of the catastrophe
Mhm.
talked about how this string quartet was so brave
Right.
that they played their music
Right.
even in the face of certain death,
Hmm.
because it calmed everyone else down
Right.
and helped everyone else
Yeah.
save themselves.
Right.
And so, there is a part of me, it sounds really morbid. It's like, do I think I'm going to die? I hope not. But at the same time, I'm like, those people were heroes.
Right.
And for us as musicians, if we have the strength and the power to be the hero to help other people,
Yeah.
then that is why I open my eyes in the morning and say, okay, one more day. Let's do this one more day,
Yeah.
and hopefully look forward to a time when we can play in a string quartet again and not have
Right.
to worry about getting sick,
Right.
or and we can have an audience again. Gosh, I miss
Oh,
having
is that? Yeah. I mean,
an actual audience.
that's our energy where it come from. Like,
Right.
we need those like people sitting down there. Everybody miss that, and as a musician,
Hmm.
and then just really strange for the
It's so different to recording. Like,
right.
recording is a skill, but it doesn't have the same
You still feel the
feeling.
distance. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not really intimately, connecting with people, from your
yeah,
music that you're playing. So, well, like you
totally.
say, hopefully very soon, we will get back to normal. And
Fingers crossed, or if not normal, maybe a new normal.
yeah,
I'm, talking about since everything is stopped right now, what are the things, maybe there are some ways that we can make classical music better
yeah,
going forward,
right,
more inclusive,
right,
more less elitist, maybe we can find a wider audience, maybe we can help more people.
yeah.
It's an open question, but I would like to try.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see. But always stay positive. I think that's very, very important. Positive,
Yeah.
for us, and then hopefully that's we will come up
And
something.
be kind.
Right,
I'm always like, be kind to other people and also be kind to yourself. Some days you'll wake up in the morning and you won't be able to do it. You'll think like, I can't I can't work today
right,
because I'm too sad.
right.
And part of me is like, well, take a day, take 2 days,
Yeah,
and work through that. Be kind to yourself. Don't like beat yourself up. Why are
right.
you so lazy? What's wrong with you? Like take a breath, be
Yeah,
in the moment, recognize that it's totally rational to
right.
be sad
Hmm.
right now.
Yeah.
um and then when you find your energy again, you get back up and you keep going.
Yeah. So, Dr. Dunphy, really appreciate that you're having this interview with us, and we are really happy to perform your music. Hopefully, very soon that we can perform another piece from you that can be ensemble or solo violins, which I'm happy to do it again.
I would love that, Cheng-Wei. Thank you
Right.
so much. This has been
Thank,
a pleasure.
thank you so much. Okay, I'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.